Good morning. I'm Dr. Neeti Maheshwari, Assistant Professor, Applied Science and Humanities Department, Ajay Kumar Garg Engineering College, Ghaziabad. Today, I'll be starting with Module 5 of Chemistry, and that topic is concentrated at polymers. Today, I'm going to deal with the introduction on polymers. Now, coming first to the introduction part of the polymers, which are long chain of organic molecules. Polymer materials. Now, these polymer materials, they are a diverse group of engineering materials. The main components of these materials, or where we use, are the rubbers, are the plastics, are the resins, are the adhesives and paints. And these materials, they have distinctive microstructures built from macro chains and a network of carbons and other light elements. Now, these polymers, they are used in day-to-day life. They are highly useful in domestic, in transport, in infrastructure, for industrial and mechanical equipments. Now, coming to the introduction part of the polymers. Polymers, they are nothing but a long chain molecule which is formed by joining of thousands of small units which are known as monomers. And these monomers, they undergo a reaction known as polymerization to form the polymers. And these polymers, they are also known as macromolecules or giant molecules. The polymers, they are classified in different ways, but the general classification, they are broadly classified as man-made or the synthetic polymers or biological polymers which are found in nature. Under the heading man-made or synthetic polymers, the few examples are nylon, polyester, polystyrene. Then the natural polymers which are found in nature, they are cellulose, they are wood, the fibers, the natural rubber. Then in the biological systems, the biopolymers, they are the DNA and the RNA, the proteins, the enzymes, the fatty acid chains, they are all the polymeric materials. Now, coming to the basic terms, first is the monomers. These monomers, they are small molecules which combine with each other to form polymer molecules. And polymers are those compounds which consist of large number of molecules, and they are formed by repeated joining of a number of small molecules. For example, polyethylene, it is built from ethylene units. And here I have taken the example of ethylene. Ethylene, it is CH2 double bond CH2. When N molecules of ethylene, they combine and they undergo a reaction known as polymerization, they lead to the formation of polyethylene, that is CH2 double bond CH2 whole N. Now, coming to the term degree of polymerization. Degree of polymerization is the number of repeating units which are present in a polymeric chain. The N number, how much number of styrene molecules they are combining to form polystyrene. This N, it represents the degree of polymerization. And the next term that we use is functionality. By saying functionality, I mean to say that the number of bonding sites which are present in a monomer. For any molecule to act as a monomer, its functionality should at least be by 2. That means it should be bi or difunctional in nature. And functionality, it is also the number of reactive sites or the number of functional groups which are present in the organic molecule. Now, here I have taken the example of vinyl polymer. Now, the double bond, it acts as a site for 2 new bonds. If the double bond opens up, 2 new bonds can be formed. So, in the case of vinyl monomer CH2 double bond CHX, the double bond opens up and there is a place where 2 new molecules can get accommodated, because for elongation of chain both the side of the chain should be open so that new molecules they can add on. If only one side is open, then another molecule will come and react on that side, and they are going to complete the valency. The valency, if once the valency gets satisfied, then the reaction will stop. So the end groups, their valency should be unsatisfied, the number of bonds, or there should be vacancy, or there should be vacant sites. So functionality is nothing but the number of bonding sites present in a monomer. Now the next type, it is the linear branched or cross-linked polymers. If the functionality of the monomer is 2, if two different monomers are combining and these two monomers they have functionality as 2, in that case a linear straight chain polymer molecule is formed. And if I mix two different polymers, one is bifunctional and the another one is trifunctional, then in that case branch or the cross-link formation is going to take place. Cross-link polymer will be formed. So if bifunctional is more in comparison to trifunctional monomers, then in that case branched chain polymers will be formed. But if the functionality of monomers which are trifunctional, if their quantity is more in comparison to the bifunctional monomers, then it will lead to the formation of cross-linked polymers. Now this is the classification of polymers. On the basis of structure, they can be linear, branched or cross-linked. Then on the basis of tacticity, they can be isotactic, they can be syndiotactic, they can be atactic polymers. On the basis of the physical state, the polymers they can be classified as amorphous or crystalline polymers. And on the basis of heat, I can classify polymers as thermoplastic or thermosetting. On the basis of conductance, these polymers they are classified as insulators or conductors. On the basis of origin, they can be natural or synthetic. Similarly, on basis of environment, they can be biodegradable or they can be durable. On the basis of monomers, they can be polar or non-polar. Number of monomers, the type of monomers, they can be homo polymer which is formed by joining of one type of monomer, or they can be copolymers which are formed by joining of two different monomers. Similarly, the polymer chain from the homopolymer will be homo chain and the from copolymer will be a hetero chain. And the polymerization process, it can take place either by the addition process or by the condensation process. So the polymer classification, linear polymers, branch chain and cross-link or the network polymers. Here linear polymers, the examples are high density polyethylene HDPE, nylon, cotton. Then branch chain polymer, they are low density polyethylene. Cross-link polymer, it is cross-link polythene or rubber, and the network polymers which contain benzene rings also, they examples are Kevlar and epoxy resin. Now classification on the basis of tacticity. Tacticity, it is also known as the configuration. On the basis of tacticity, I can divide my polymers into three different categories. And tacticity is nothing but the orientation of the side groups, how they are oriented along the carbon main chain, that decides the configuration of the polymer. Coming first to the isotactic polymers. If the side groups, here I have taken the R group as the side chain, the alkyl chains. If the side groups they are present on the same side of the polymer, only on one side, then it is known as isotactic polymer. In the case of syndiotactic polymers, the groups they are present in the alternating fashion, that is the R group they alternate from side to side. If one is present on the one side of the chain, the other will present on the other side of the chain. And finally the atactic polymers, here the side chains they are randomly arranged in comparison to the carbon-carbon main chain. The position of the groups is random. They are randomly arranged, therefore it is known as atactic polymers. Polymers, they can be easily crystallized if they are isotactic or syndiotactic polymers. Second classification is the homo and copolymers. Homopolymers, if the polymeric chain it is formed from only one type of monomers, that means the repeating units they are of the same type, then it is known as homo. And the hetero or the copolymer, here it is formed from joining together of different monomers. All the repeating units they are not going to be same, then it is known as copolymer. Polymer types, two different monomers they polymerize together to give different types of copolymers. One is the random copolymers. Random copolymers, when the position of the monomers, different monomers, it is not fixed. Here you can see I have taken two different types A and B, and the A and B they are randomly positioned along the chain. There is no regular arrangement of monomer A or B. The second type is alternate copolymers. Here the monomers A and B they are present in the alternate position in the polymeric chain. So A, B, this type of polymeric chain is going to be formed. Then block polymer. When large blocks of A units alternate with large blocks of B unit, there is repeated units of A, and after certain repetition the second monomer repeats itself. So that is known as block polymer. Here you can see A has repeated 4 times and then B has repeated 4 times. The last is the graft polymer, graft copolymer. Here the chains of B units they are grafted onto A backbone. So here A is the backbone main unit of the polymeric chain, and here the B chains they are grafted on this backbone unit of A monomer. So such types are known as graft copolymer. Then on the basis of method of synthesis. On the basis of method of synthesis, they can be classified as addition or they can be classified as condensation polymer. So coming first to the addition polymerization. Here when the polymer chain it grows through simply addition of the monomeric units. The monomeric units they keep on adding, then it is known as addition polymerization, and there is no loss of small molecules. That means the empirical formula of the polymer is same as that of the monomer. And this addition polymerization it takes place in 3 different steps. First is the initiation step, then the propagation of the chain, and finally the chain termination. So coming first to the initiation. In the case of initiation, there is a free radical initiator which attacks the carbon-carbon double bond. And this initiator it can be any molecule. For example, I have taken here hydrogen peroxide H2O2. Now this material it can easily split into 2 species when a free electron attached with a free electron attached to it. So this is the hydrogen peroxide HOOH. It can easily break down to give you HO free radical, 2 molecules of OH free radical. Now this free radical it attacks the carbon-carbon double bond, and the one of the pi electrons it forms a single bond with the initiator. With the pi electrons forms a new free radical on the carbon atom. Here, now this is the chain initiator molecule. This is how the initiator has taken place. Here I have taken another example. It attacks the double bond open up, and here this was the chain initiator free radical. When it joins to the monomeric unit, it forms another free radical, and this free radical attacks next molecule and result in the formation of a new free radical, and this type the chain propagation takes place. So, the molecules, they keep on adding, a new free radical is being generated, and when we reacted with an HX molecule, the valency gets satisfied and the termination results. So, the polymeric chain moves out of the system. So, here the propagation takes place, the new free radical compound, it interacts with another molecule and it continues the process of chain growth. And whenever termination, whenever two free radicals, they come in contact with each other, the two free electrons, they form a covalent bond and the free radical on each molecule no longer exists. So, chain termination here takes place when one this chain and one similar chain, they both combine, the free radical will result, combination will result into the formation of a bond and the chain will terminate. The second type is the condensation polymerization. Now, here this condensation polymerization, it essentially takes place between two different monomers, and when two different monomers, they combine and the reaction proceeds via loss of small molecules like H2O, like Cl, HCl, like CO2. If small molecules, they are eliminated, then the process is known as condensation polymerization. Here I have taken the example of the formation of PET, which is a polyester, and the monomeric units are terphthalic acid and ethylene glycol. When they react, water molecules are lost. As a result, a polyester is formed. Now, coming to the differences between condensation and addition polymerization. Condensation polymerization, it is also known as step growth, because here positive and negative charges are formed, it is a step growth polymerization, whereas the addition polymerization, it is the chain growth polymerization. So, condensation polymerization, it generally takes place having when monomers, they have reactive functional groups, and the additional polymerization, it takes place when the monomers, they have multiple bonds. Condensation polymerization, it takes place by the elimination of simple molecules like H2O, like ammonia, like HCl, and addition polymerization, it takes place without the elimination of small molecules. In condensation polymerization, the repeating units of monomers, they are going to be different, whereas in the addition polymerization, the repeating units and monomers, they are the same. In the case of condensation, the polymer is formed in gradual steps, whereas in the case of additional polymerization, the reaction is fast and the polymer is formed at once. Then the molecular mass of polymer increases throughout the reaction, and there is very little change in the molecular mass throughout the reaction. Here the product obtained, it may be thermosetting or thermoplastic, but in the case of additional, the products that are obtained, they are essentially thermoplastics. The examples of condensation polymerization, they are bakelite, polyester, polyamides, whereas in the additional polymerization, polyethylene, polyvinyl chloride, polystyrene, these are the different examples of additional polymerization. Now, coming first on the basis of heat, the polymers, they are classified as thermoplastics or thermosettings. Now, in the case of thermoplastics, there are weak forces between the polymeric chain, and when we heat them, these thermoplastics, they soften on heating. That means the hardness is their temporary property. There are no cross links between the chains, and there are weak attractive forces between chains, they are broken by warming. As a result, it loses its hardness and it becomes soft. That means these thermoplastics, they can change their shape and they can be remolded. So, they can be reclaimed from the waste materials and we can use them for a number of times. and weak forces then reform them in new shape when cold. So thermoplastics are those which soften on heating and then again harden on cooling. And these polymer molecules, they consist of long chains which have only weak bonds between the chains. And the bond between the chains, they are so weak that they can easily be broken when the plastic is heated. And the chains can then move around to form a different shape. And the weak bond, they reform when it is cool, and the thermoplastic material keeps its new shape. It will not go back to its original shape. Next is the thermosetting polymers. Now thermosetting polymers are those which when heated and they are molded and given a certain shape, then they are permanent set molecules. Hardness is their permanent property. They are not going to get softened again on heating, else they are going to burn on prolonged heating, giving fumes. So the thermosetting polymers, they are permanent set molecules. Once we have heated and molded them, then they are going to keep their shape, and on heating, they are not going to get deformed. So here in the thermosetting polymers, there is extensive cross-linking, and when we heat, these covalent bond between the polymers, they do not break down easily and they do not get deformed. That means they keep their original shape even on heating. And these thermosettings, they have extensive cross-linking formed by the covalent bonds, and the bonds prevent chains moving relative to each other. So those polymers which never soften once they have been set, they are known as thermosetting polymers. And they are known as thermosetting because once set into a shape, that shape cannot be altered. And these polymeric molecules, they consist of long chains which have many strong chemical bonds between the chains. The bond between the chains, they are so strong that they cannot be broken when the plastic is heated. That means the thermosetting polymers, they cannot be reclaimed from the waste. They are adding to the solid waste problems of the world. And these thermosetting polymers, they are not soluble in any solvent, whereas the thermoplastic, they are soluble in certain organic solvents. Coming next to the classification on the basis of origin, they are classified as natural polymers and synthetic. The one which is found in nature, they are natural polymers like starch, like protein, like cellulose, cotton, silk, wood. They are all natural polymers. And synthetic ones are those which have been synthesized in the labs. They are nylon, they are PVC, polythene, bakelite. They are all synthetic polymers. On the basis of chemical nature, they are classified as organic polymers, a polymer whose backbone chain, it is essentially made up of carbon atoms. It is termed as organic polymer. And the majority of synthetic polymers, they are organic polymers. And heteroorganic, a polymer whose chains are made up of carbon and heteroatoms. For example, polysiloxane, here it is made up of silicon oxygen repeating units. So carbon and the heteroatoms, they are present, then it is heteroorganic. Then inorganic polymers, the polymers of inorganic polymers, they essentially contain no carbon atom in their backbone. Example, the glass, silicon and rubber. Coming to the molecular weight of polymers. Polymers molecules, they possess high molecular weight because n number of monomers, they are joined together to form the polymeric chain. So the polymers, they have various length, they can have different length depending upon the number of the repeating units which are present. During the polymerization, not all the chains in the polymer grow to the same length. We do not know when the chain termination will take place. So, there is a distribution of molecular weights, and there are several ways of defining the average molecular weight of the polymeric units. Now, average molecular weights. The average molecular weights, they are classified by two. They can be number average and the weight average molecular weights. Now, the number average molecular weight m bar n, it is given by the summation of number of molecules with molecular weight mi and the summation of that number, how many number of molecules have molecular weight m1, then number of molecules having molecular weight m2, that is going to give us the number average. So, ni mi divided by ni, summation of ni, that is the number average, and m bar w, which is the weight average molecular mass, it is given by summation of the weights of molecular weights such divided by the weights, and wi is nothing but ni mi. Therefore, this equation becomes summation of ni mi square divided by summation of ni mi, where mi is the molecular weight of molecules I and ni is the number of molecules with molecular weight I, and wi is the mass of the molecules with molecular weight I. So, two types of molecular weights, average molecular weights we have calculated, that is the number average and the weight average, and PD is the polydispersity index. It is the ratio between the weight average molecular weight to the number average molecular weight. So, polydispersity index, it is a ratio of the weight to number average molecular weights. So, PDI, it is the weight average molecular weight divided by the number average of molecular weight. Properties of polymers. Polymers, they are big molecules and they may range from 10 to the power 5 or more. They have low density. They have low coefficient of friction. They are good corrosion resistant. They have good moldability, and many polymers, they are non-toxic and they are safe to use, and their chemical, optical, thermal and electrical properties, they depend on the size, the shape and the intermolecular forces. These polymers, they are corrosion resistant and they can be produced with closed dimensional tolerances. They are economical, that is they are cheap, and they can be produced transparent or in different colors. Limitations. Some polymers, they are combustible and the properties of polymers are time dependent. They are poor temperature resistance and poor tensile strength. So, these are the certain limitations of the polymers. Mechanical properties. They possess good tensile strength, good compressive strength also, shear strength, they are elongated molecules and they are tough in nature. Thank you.